Hello everyone, back out on the motor this morning. I've got a oil pressure gauge set up. Here I've taken an old distributor, ground the gears off of it, took the top off of it so I can hook a drill to it. And on a small block Chevy, you have to have this part here because around here is where the oil comes through to go to the other bank. If you just put a drill onto the shaft, oil pump shaft, you only get oil to half of the motor. So we'll get this together, see what it does. Nothing too complicated with the process. Just get her stuck down, got to line up the crossbar with the oil pump shaft. Sometimes that's a little tricky. Get some vice grips on there so I can turn it. Here. Now get an electric drill. Get her put on and fire that thing up. And if you listen, you can hear the oil pressure come in as it pulls the drill motor down. This went good with no problems. The oil started coming out right away out the push rod tubes. Pushed all the assembly lube out. And here I'm getting a wrench so that I can rotate the motor around. Open up different passages inside as the oil pressure goes through, and it showed. There was some air pushed through some of the push rods that had already had oil going through. And you see it dripping, and it did make a bit of a mess before I was done, but it shows good oil pressure, and everything's getting all nice and oily, which is just what we need. And there's a little closer view, the oil coming up through all the components. See it bubbling, getting down. I gave it a pretty good run. Wanted to make sure it got everywhere, and I wanted to move the internals of the motor around a few times. All in all, a good test day. As you can see here, I have an aluminum timing chain cover, and I had meant to show this when we were doing the valve timing, but I had read on the internet it said don't use a aluminum cam button to keep the cam from moving back and forth against an aluminum housing, so that it will gald up. Well, I was using one, and it had what looked like maybe a tiny little spot that might have been galding, so being a good follower of the internet, I put a nylon one in. Well, somewhere in the few thousand miles that I put on the motor, I would say that it failed. So I have since put in a steel roller bearing style to eliminate that problem. So I guess you can't believe everything you see on the internet. So that's it. Next step is to get it on the engine stand and fire this thing up. So once again, thanks for watching.